Hello, Internet. So, this is kind of a prologue almost, like the intro to new feature here on Keeping Up with the Fatness Network that is yet unnamed. So, what I'll be doing here is once a week I'm going to be going through my Longbox. But today what I'm doing is just taking out big chunks of comic books. And I'm going to go through everything I've got here in North Carolina, which is about a quarter of my overall collection. And we're going to talk about some of this stuff over the next few weeks, months, what have you. So what I've just pulled out first off is a series from Image that I'm not sure how many people are 100% familiar with, but it's a series called Deathblow. And I have, at least from its initial run, I have every single issue. And I made sure to bring that with me because it's just like beautifully 90s, like absolutely amazing. What it is so there was another series. I've got every issue of that as well. I don't know if I brought those to North Carolina with me here. I don't believe I did. But another series called Stormwatch, which this is a spin-off of, and I believe it was the I don't want to talk out of my ass here, but I believe this was the beginning of the Wildstorm universe, which is where Jim Lee really made a name for himself. But Deathblow here, it's beautiful 90s, like very gory, very over-the-top action, just absolutely fantastic. Jim Lee is one of my favorite artists of all time. I have every single issue of this series, and that is 29 issues. So that is several story arcs. And what I plan to do is go story arc by story arc as far as these comics go that I have in my collection. Just taking a sip of beer to wet my whistle. I'm going to dive back into the box here as I put Deathblow aside. I'm going to grab just another big chunk of comics. I believe what I'm looking at here is The Flash. And The Flash, starting with the Brightest Day tie-in stuff, I also have every issue of this particular run of The Flash, which started from the fallout from Brightest Day, which brought back Barry Allen as The Flash, leading into the road to Flashpoint. And that is just a quick 1 year, 12-issue run. Absolutely fantastic, beautiful artwork, written by Jeff Johns, who is one of my absolute favorite writers. Not just in DC, but in general. Jeff Johns, you may know his name from Batman The Long Halloween, which is him and Tim Sale, who is his #1 biggest collaborator. With this series, it was Jeff Johns with Francis Manapul and Scott Collins later on in the run. Yeah, that's a nice, quick 12 issues. What sucked about some of the more recent DC stuff is that they started going down. When I was a kid, your average comic book was 32 pages. And sometime around, let's check this, the publication date on this one here. Where's the title page? They also often started doing, here it is. They often started doing title pages at the end of the book. That was more of a, what's his name? Grant Morrison. Grant Morrison liked to do title pages at the end of the book. Like the whole book was a lead up to this big reveal at the end, which was the book's title. I never quite understood what they were going for, but that's what they did. So I've got, this is the, it started in June 2010. The last issue was published July 2011. So that's a 12-issue run. Absolutely fantastic. Let's see what else I got in here. I'm looking at Batman Gates of Gotham, written by Scott Snyder, who basically ran Batman for a good couple of years. It's a 5-issue miniseries. Delves into the history of Gotham City, the history of the Wayne family, brings in a whole new villain. Really great story arc. Very short, nice read. If you want to check that out, should definitely drop by it. Now, I'll tell you right now, off the bat, you're going to hear a lot of Batman. I'm going to be telling you about a lot of Batman. In fact, I'm going to make a special stack for Batman all by itself here. But I'm wearing a Batman shirt right now, but I am, like, biggest Batman fan on the planet. So next, what we're going to pull out, another quick issue. Now, right around the tail end of Brightest Day, I started collecting again real hard. And one of my favorite tie-ins when Brightest Day launched was Green Arrow. Now, Green Arrow, it's Oliver Queen. He's lost all of his money. He's living in this magical forest that has sprung up out of nowhere in the middle of the woods. And we've got, the first 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, issue 12 of Green Arrow is advertising the Green Lantern movie. There's a little time capsule. So the first 12 issues were all part of the Brightest Day event, and then the last 3 issues, issue 13 through 15, these guys were standing on their own, leading into Flashpoint and the New 52. So Flashpoint, I think I've got all of Flashpoint in this box somewhere too, and I mean all of Flashpoint. Absolutely all of it. So we're going to pull out just a random chunk right here. And right off the bat, I see 2 issues of Batman Black and White. These are just like rando issues. I didn't follow Batman Black and White very much. It's from issue number 1 from June 96. Issue number 4 from September 96. When I was 10 years old. But yeah, Batman Black and White was a cool concept. It was like really noir, usually told more grounded, more down-to-earth Batman stories. I also have here Batman Gotham Knights, which I believe started as like a follow-up to the Batman animated series, comic book series, and that rolled into Batman Gotham Knight here. I've got 2 issues here. You see Alan Grant on issue number 16, June 2001, and I've got an issue, April 2001, issue number 14, written by Paul Dini, who was showrunner over there on Batman the Animated Series, him and Bruce Timm. Though Dini is very, very much responsible for all the things that we see as iconic for Batman the Animated Series. I've got 2 one-shots from the Battle for the Cowl event. There's a Commissioner Gordon one-shot solo comic, and then the Gotham Gazette Batman Alive one-shot solo comic from May 2009 and July 2009 respectively. Those will go in this random pile. Got an issue here of Shadow of the Bat, number 52, July 1996. You're going to see a lot of these around the 96, 97, 98, probably up to 2000 is where a lot of my collection comes from. Then I've got a lot of stuff from the late 70s up through the mid 90s. That was where I really loved comic books. It's just the feel and the look and the overdramatic everything. This is another great story written by Alan Grant. Shadow of the Bat. Let's see. July 96. See if we got a story name on it. Got no title card on this issue. It's something to do with milk. I don't actually remember ever reading this issue. It must not have been too notable. What I do love is going through all these old comic books and seeing like the old advertisements that you get in them. Got an advertisement for Kingdom Come, beginning May 1996, which was absolutely fantastic. Everybody loves Kingdom Come. Next up, we've got the retroactive one-shot 1970s. So they did this. They did, I believe, 1940s, 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, and each one was like a story done by either done by or in the style of the creators of the era. So this is the 1970s one, written by Len Wein and Tom Mandrake for the art. Bonus, a classic tale from the 70s. So in here we actually have a reprint of an old Batman comic from the 1970s that you can compare. Like, it's really easy to see that like the color palette and just the line work, just everything about just the printing quality of the comic itself. While the actual style of it does look very 1970s, the quality of it, just in terms of like budget and technology, very different. Next up, I have the 5-issue miniseries of Batman Dark Knight, which was David Finch and Scott Williams. Really cool, different kind of artwork. A little bit of a darker story. This was right after Bruce Wayne had been killed and was brought back to life. Next up, I have Batman Meets the Green Hornet, Batman 66. So this is, I think Batman 66 is still running. But Batman 66 is obviously based on the Adam West, Burt Ward series from the 1960s. And this is the only issue I have. I never actually read it. As far as licensed comics go, I didn't really get into stuff like that. Like they expect you to get excited about like if they do like a Star Wars or if they do like some movie or TV show tie-in. They expect you to get excited, but I just never really could. Next up, I have Batman number 1,000,000. This was a whole thing that DC did. Basically, they took all of their major stories and they decided to go ahead and print what would be the 1,000,000th issue. So it's supposed to be set in whatever year the 1,000,000th issue would end up being published. It's a pretty cool concept. I read it once. I picked it up because I thought it was a nice novelty. The way I used to buy comic books, I would just go through the long boxes at the comic book store and see what they had in there. So I've got another bunch of just random one-offs here. I have Batman the 12-Cent Adventure. This is so this was like a little one-off they released. It was 12 cents. And a lot of comic book stores ended up, I think I got it on Free Comic Book Day. A lot of comic book stores ended up just giving them away on Free Comic Book Day that year. This was from, let me see if I got, October 2004. Batman, the 12-Cent Adventure. Next up, I have Batman 100-Page Spectacular from December 2010. This is another one. I don't really remember it much. I did pick it up. The art is a little unique here. I think what we've got are several different contributing writers, artists, and it's just a cool... This has it listed as the first issue, though I don't know that there was a second. It's more like one of those... It's more like one of those annual situations. $7.99 US back in December 2010. Ooh, here's something, a little bit of a change of pace. Wolverine Snicked, which is a 5-issue miniseries. This was a Wolverine series where he is transported to like another like world. It's done in a almost anime style, manga style look to it. Let's see, let's find the credits on this one. Story and art by Tsutomu Nihei. Color by Guru EFX. So this one was very cool. I've always been a huge fan. Other than Batman, my next number one is Wolverine here. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take this and put it aside in a stack. I'm taking all the Batman stuff is getting its own stack, because if I were to just do Batman, it would be like the first 100 episodes would be if I were to just concentrate on Batman. So I'll do some Batman stuff. I'm going to concentrate on other arcs and story stuff as well. But that's the basic concept that we're going to get into here. Is that, sorry about all the whinging here, and ahs and ahs. But I'm going to take cool story arcs, and we are going to discuss those story arcs at length in a very nerdy way. Right now, I'm getting ready to pull out a big pile. Like I said, Wolverine behind Batman. Sorry, I'm trying to just shift these comics so they stand a little better. Wolverine behind Batman is gotta be like my number one guy. So I've got right up top, at the top of this Wolverine pile, I have Wolverine Days of Future Past, which is not the same as the X-Men Days of Future Past comic book that the movie was based on. It is in the same spirit. I believe it came out probably directly after. It's a 3-issue miniseries here. Very 90s. Let's see who the art was on this. Who wrote you? Number one. You always got Stan Lee's name on there. It's Moore, Bennett, and Holdridge. We'll do a little research into this stuff as well. That's Wolverine Days of Future Past, 3 issues, and then a large, just like a whole lot of the 1980s, late 80s, early 90s Wolverine bi-monthly series. So I have issue number 52, 53, 55, 56, skip 57, skip 50, nope, got 59, skip 63, skip 69, skip 71, and then we skip all the way up to number 82. And I think this is when, so numbers 52 here through 72, these are all ones I found like just in the bin over at usually TJ Collectibles was where I was shopping. And then I think 82 on is where I was actually buying it monthly. But absolutely love Wolverine, especially when he's all on his own. We got one, it's the Phalanx Covenant Final Sanction Part 2, which I think was a larger event series. I never really followed much for Marvel event series, so I've got a few tie-ins that I don't really care much about. So that's up to 85, 86, and then we skip to issue number 102 from June 96. So this would actually be probably where I started buying them off the shelf over at Hopkins & Drug. So everything up to issue 86 was definitely out of the bin. It's really cool. We've got this very like bestial Wolverine in this issue. It's they had the X-Men branding on the front page there. We got decidedly different tale of the feral X-Man, brought to you by Larry Hama, Adam Kubert, and Dan Green. So we got 102, 103. Then from 104 we skip up to 160. I probably lost track for a little while and then came back. Hold up, here we go. We're going back here. This is a couple of random issues just scattered around. And then I've got Marvel's Greatest Comics, Enemy of the State Part 1, which is Wolverine issue 20, which is probably a different run of the comic altogether. May 2011 is where I've got the name, the date rather. So let's go here. Sorry, I'm also organizing this stuff as I go. We've got 86. Now we're on to issue 87. Really cool cover. You got a Gambit and Wolverine here on the cover, jumping. They're being targeted by a sniper scope. There's like a mail-in offer in here for a Marvel survey. You enter for a chance to win prizes. So that's issue number 86, and then we're gonna jump back. I got issue 50, and I can tell you exactly where I got issue 50. Let's see what year publication date on issue 50 is. Can I see? Volume 1, number 50, 1990. Life's End Part 3. This was my first ever Wolverine comic. I got it at Toys R Us. They would sell these big packages of comics. That's number 6. That's number 50. So 50 to 52. They would sell these big packages of comics that just had all sorts of random comics just mixed into this big plastic package. I got some Superman. I got some Batman. I got Wolverine, like a bunch of Wolverine. In fact, 3 issues here came out of that box. I've got one with it's a crossover with number 64. It's a crossover with Ghost Rider. So let's find 64. And there we go. This is a completely different run of the comic as well. So that's an interesting thing. So we've got 50, 52. So I've got, okay, 52 goes with this other one. This is Marvel Comics Presents Wolverine, which is pretty cool. Number 72, which is a tie-in with the Weapon X story arc, which I believe ran through X-Men. Anything X-Men related, I believe, had some Weapon X tie-ins. I've got this like prestige format, The Jungle Adventure. Walter Simonson, Mike Mignola, who you'll know for art on Hellboy. And this is one of those situations like when you look at early Frank Miller, like you can see Frank Miller in there, but he was working with a different inker, so they kind of steered their art in a different direction. But Mignola has a definite style that you can see peeking out from underneath all this art. If he had been allowed to do his own ink, or if he had been allowed to run his own show over there, like it probably would have looked a lot different. So that's another stack right there, and I'm seeing some more Batman peeking out here. So let's just grab a chunk of these. So I got the Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Annual number 7 from 1997. Legends of the Dark Knight was a great series. It was usually like 1 or 2 or 3 stories from throughout Batman's career. They'd skip around by years. Then we got Batman Annual number 4 from 1994, Batman Legends of the Dark Knight. This one's a cool, like, alternate Elseworlds kind of story. So that's pretty neat. And here we've got the Flashpoint tie-in, Batman Night of Vengeance, Brian Azzarello and Eduardo Risso, who we'll definitely return to them later because I love this team, just the way it's written and the way their art looks. They are just a blockbuster team, these guys. So we'll put that aside as something we're definitely going to revisit. We've got Batman Seduction of the Gun, which was a 64-page like special, not prestige format because it's not a rigid cover, but it's definitely larger than average. And this is Batman tackling gun violence from 1993. We've got Batman Rebirth #1. Rebirth was kind of where I lost interest because DC just keeps seeming in the comics to go, not in Batman, but in generally collecting, but they just keep going from one big like event to another. I've got 4 issues of Batman Arkham Manor, which I don't believe. This was a big one for the beginning of the New 52. I don't think this. Yeah, no, it's not even the full story arc. It's just some random stuff. I've got the 4-issue run of Batman Europa, which was Frank Lee with Brian Azzarello. Well, it started out with Frank Lee, then it switched hands because he was too busy. It's really cool, different. Think Arkham Asylum with more structure, to the art. It's not so out there. It's not so crazy. We've got Riddler Year 1, Detective Comics, 1995, annual number 8. So that's pretty cool. We'll probably go through a bunch of these annuals and one-offs in a single episode. We've got Batman Orphans 2 of 2. This is the only issue I ever read. Wasn't too familiar with this series. That is just a random. Let's grab another chunk here. Oof. We have an issue of Iron Man, the Invincible Iron Man, October of what year? I don't see a year on this. It is signed by, I believe, the penciler. Let's take a look inside. So this is October 98. Yeah, I believe it's signed by the penciler. Yeah, Sean Chen. So we'll put that aside. We'll do a Marvel rando pile as well. This one's really cool. This was one of the first issues I ever got. It came in a Star Trek 2-pack. So this is Star Trek X-Men, which is the X-Men get warped through time and space to the Enterprise, the original Star Trek, the original series Enterprise, and that is Marvel in association with Paramount Comics, celebrating the 30th anniversary of Star Trek in 1996. What I've got here are some pretty cool ones. So for a little while, DC and Marvel, they got together and they created an imprint called Amalgam, which was they would take their big properties, DC's big properties and Marvel's big properties, and they mix them together. The only ones I've got is they took Wolverine and they took Batman and they mixed them together and they got Dark Claw. So they're both, I've got Dark Claw and Dark Claw Adventures. Dark Claw is very like 1990s style. They've mixed Joker with Sabretooth, and they've just a really cool idea. Very cheesy, but like more campy. Very campy in a very specific style. So that one's pretty cool. The Dark Claw Adventures is obviously it's based on like Batman the Animated Series. These are from 1997. We'll put these aside here. Excuse me. Next up, I have a handful of issues. This is a really cool series that I started picking up out of the 4 for $1 bin at TJ Collectibles in Milford, Massachusetts. It's called John Sable Freelance, and he was sort of a rough and tumble, like James Bond meets Indiana Jones, sorta. He's like a secret agent, more of an operative or like a hitman. Definitely he was a good guy. It was like very espionage, very pulpy. I've got issue number 12, 13, 14, 39, 41, 42, 43, 44, skip 46 and 47, then we got 48 and 49. So that was a cool one. We'll probably go into some detail on that one at some point as well. We'll put that into anything but DC pile over here. We've got a few issues of Pokemon. Electric Tail of Pikachu. I was really pissed off as we were packing up everything and I was going through all my comics. Electric Tales of Pikachu is a 4-issue series. I only have 1, 2, and 4, but I used to have all 4. Then we've got Pikachu Shocks Back, which was another 4 issues. Electric Pikachu Boogaloo, which was another 4 issues, and I'm once again missing issue number 3. But those are really cool. I love the art style. I love the way they craft this Pokemon world that nobody else who's worked on Pokemon in any sort of format beyond the games has really gotten into. Next up, my absolute favorite Batman stuff is, let's pull out a big chunk of these actually. I think I got a bunch of them right here. Yeah. So they went through several different names on this particular series. So what I have the Batman and Robin Adventures, and this was the one that was specifically based on Batman the Animated Series. This is the annual number 2 from 1997, and then I have just scattered issues moving from there. I've got issues 7, 10, 20. Some of these I have bagged up because they're not because I'm trying to keep them in good condition, but because they are in absolutely terrible condition. So what I would do, I would buy a comic book, and there wasn't going to be another one for another month, so I would just read them over and over and over again all month long. But from issue 20, I used to stop by Hobby & Drug every week and pick up this comic for $1.75. Oh man, I just looked at the cover and I got that dead on. It was $1.75 per issue in September '97. So from issue 20, I've got the entire remainder of this series, which is up to issue 25 in December '97. And then there was how many parts here? What the fuck? I'm missing a front cover? No. Front cover fell off, but it's here. This is 3, 4, 5. 5 issues, Batman the Lost Years, which is mostly about Dick Grayson traveling the world and eventually becoming Nightwing. Really great arc. It's the kind of storytelling that everybody really loved about Batman the Animated Series. It's done really well. So I'm gonna actually take these guys aside. I'm gonna tape up that cover. So my approach to owning comics, I never cared about like the collector's aspect. Like I love to have my comic book collection, but it was never because I was hoping to like keep them in perfect pristine condition and hopefully sell them for a small fortune one day. Like my comics wouldn't be worth very much because a lot of them are falling apart, a lot of them are pretty tattered. So we move into Batman Gotham Adventures, which was the next follow-up. This was the tie-in with the second phase animated series, season 4, the new Batman Adventures. So that's some great stuff. Let's pull out another big chunk, and I think we're getting into a pretty big Batman section here as we're about halfway through the box. And we've got Batman International, which was Grant Morrison doing... Grant Morrison, so like he's not... A lot of people give him trouble. He's far from the perfect creator, but like if you want to read something and know that somebody's having like a whole lot of fun, you read comic books by Grant Morrison because he is amazing. His stuff is so campy, it's so strange. So I have 8 issues of Batman Incorporated, which I believe was all that was published before the New 52, because they just like canceled everything when New 52 hit. I have the Batman Arkham City tie-in comic, which I don't know why I even got it, just because it was available. Like, it's a decent story. Paul Dini wrote it, but it's like they didn't put a lot of care into it, you know, because it was I feel like somebody in there felt like they were gonna sell these comics either way. But yeah, this is supposed to take place between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. So I got that right there. I got some more Legends of the Dark Knight. Mostly I like to track down like specific story arcs. So what I've got for Dark Knight, I've got Watchtower, which is a 2-part series. Chuck Dixon and Mike McMahon. Really cool, very different art style. We got that sort of dystopian Gotham that people really love. That's a cool one. That's worth addressing. That's in the Batman pile. I've got Night's End Part 10. Night's End, which was Part 3 of Nightfall. We got Bruce Wayne as Batman fighting Azrael as Batman. So that's a cool thing to have. Doesn't tie in with much of anything else that I got. I've got Going Sane Part 2, Going Sane Part 3, Going Sane Part 4, but I never managed to find Going Sane Part 1. This is like Joker decided to go straight, and stuff ensues. We'll check this one out anyway. I'll look up like a synopsis on Going Sane. We'll definitely do a few episodes on these Legends of the Dark Knight comics. I've got 3-part Werewolf for Legends of the Dark Knight. It's a cool like Batman horror story. We're gonna put that aside. Then Engines 1 and 2, another one with like just really bizarre, really cool. Like Legends of the Dark Knight was awesome because they could like take risks, they could do like different stuff, and it wasn't like part of continuity, so it didn't have to be like Batman on brand. We've got Steps, both issues of Steps. This one, I don't remember this one terribly well. The cover art is definitely really interesting. The interior art is pretty cool too. That's from Paul Jenkins and Sean Phillips, September '97. Special 100th issue, and this is Legends of the Dark Knight. This is like stories from throughout like the whole long run of Batman's history. Now we've got this awesome late 90s redesign. I've got issue 159, 160, 161, Loyalties Part 1 through 3. And I believe a lot of this is about a young Jim Gordon and the reasons why he left Chicago for Gotham City. So it's always cool. Oh man, this is from November 02. There is a little word bubble on the cover of Loyalties Part 1. That's Batman Legends of the Dark Knight issue 159 from November 2002. And a little word bubble that says, "We remember 9/11." So there's a time capsule portion there. Alright, I'm going to take a small break, and we will return in just a second. It'll be instantly for you. It won't be for me. Alright. We're not going to do the whole long box today. I am going to try and get through what's left of this big fat pile of Batman here. Pull this out. There's some exciting stuff I got, like I said, I have absolutely all of Flashpoint. Really cool arc. I'm gonna put this one aside. Really cool arc called Superman American Alien. 7-issue arc, just a few years ago. Really great one. So that'll go right over here in the DC pile. Got some more Batman to dig out here. Oh, jeez. Oh, might as well just finish the box, I guess. Might as well just finish the box. Alright, here's a big, fat pile of Batman. We have Batman and Robin, the run from, 2011. This was some quality stuff. This was after Dick Grayson became Batman. Dick Grayson is Batman, some special stuff. It was really good. So if you haven't read any of that stuff, we'll be going through that definitely. We've got Batman and Robin, the first 2 issues from the New 52 launch. So we'll put these guys aside. Those are definitely going to be worth checking out. I have the Power Pachyderm single issue that was a one-shot. It was basically a like Marvel poking fun at themselves for, it's like the X-Men, but they're all elephants. We'll check out a bunch of one-shots and stuff. I got a bunch of Detective Comics here. Let's see which issues. Detective Comics was another one I would go out and I would check out the long boxes at the comic book stores just to find like specific arcs. There's some really great stuff with Dick Grayson in these ones too. This is, I've got a bunch of it leading up to Flashpoint. So I've got a bunch of stuff like DC. Flashpoint was such a mistake. Like Flashpoint was a lot of fun, but the New 52 and everything that's come since then, it's just like, it's really not a good look, if we're being honest. We've got some of the Rebirth stuff, but they had some just like amazing, just like really fantastic storytelling. Alright, so I've got the first 2 issues of the New 52 Detective Comics as well. So that is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 31 issues of Detective Comics here. And I also have the 1000th issue as well. So that, I'm running out of piles. So make a new Batman pile here. Oh no, that's Batman's story arcs. Sorry guys, I'm losing track of what I'm doing. So next up we've got some more Gotham Knight here. This is a signed issue of Gotham Adventure. Sorry, we'll put that aside somewhere so we get it back with the rest of them. Now we've got the first of the 6-issue miniseries that launched Batman Beyond. I've got that guy. I've got the first issue of the Batman Beyond main series autographed, 2 issues autographed, 3 issues autographed, 4 issues autographed of Batman Beyond. That's mostly what I have. I checked it out after New 52. I checked out Batman Beyond. I've got the first, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got the first 8 issues of Batman Beyond. So that's a nice chunk, all Batman Beyond. And then I've got Batman proper, just the Batman name series. I've got a few issues from, these look like they probably go back to like the early 80s. And it's really awesome to look through and see just the logo change on every cover. And they just, like, just the eras of Batman go by. Because you get to stuff from the early 90s and it starts looking a little less pulpy, a little more, like, polished. I've got some really great story arcs in here. Hold on. Sometimes I would go in and just buy issues for their covers. There's one very specifically I'm looking for. Here's the issue with Dead Man, number 531 from June 96, which was another one that I got in that big package of comics. I've got most of the Penguin story arc. Here's what I was looking for. Broken City. This is Azzarello and Riso, same guys who did Night of Vengeance. So we're definitely putting that aside. That's a really great one. We've got some of the issues that were part of Hush. We've got Batman number 666, which is really great. Like, it's Damian Wayne as Batman. Now we get up into Dick Grayson as Batman. That's some great stuff. I got a whole lot of that. It's the same area as like the Green Arrow and the Flash that we're going to be going to too. Then I got the new 52. That's where, like, I've got the first 4, 5, 6, first 6 issues, and then I just went out looking for year 0, 0 year. So 0 year is a really cool run. Hold on. Trying to see if these are also 0 year. But I was trying to track down all the issues that were part of 0 year, and I could find all but the last 3, and that is Batman number 31, 32, 33. So 0 year is, hold on, that can go in the pile. 0 year is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 issues. And I went out to specifically find that. That's a really cool one. That's like the new 52's, like Batman origin here. But the last 3 issues I couldn't find anywhere until my honeymoon. We went into just a random comic book store in France, and I managed to find it. Alright, so I've also got the first 7 issues of Rebirth Batman. It was some interesting stuff. They were just making so many big leaps in the story pre-New 52. Like, it was just so disappointing to see everything go. We've got the Detective Comics Annual and the Batman Annual, which is a 2-parter. It's got The Question in it, Night Runner, and Veil, and then Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne as Batman simultaneously. And then 708 and 709, that was the return, like, after Rebirth, I think, or they're just random issues. So I've also got the first Batman Ninja Turtles crossover, and it was absolutely fantastic. I know there's a second one, I haven't read it yet, and there's an animated movie. Either it's out or it's coming out, but I haven't watched a lot of those. Alright. That's Batman. We survived it. I'm going to move a bunch of this stuff here. I'm going to get Batman. Oh. Actually, no, let's get these randos. Well, no, we'll give Batman his own big section here at the back of the box. Sorry for my grunting and groaning. I'm an old man. Old man. Alright, there's Batman. Let's take all this stuff. So yeah, I've got a pile of a bunch of stuff that's going to be a lot of fun to go through. plenty of random stuff. I'm going to keep that pile, actually. We'll put these two piles to the side. This one on top. Alright. We're almost there. This is the final stretch of what I've got here in North Carolina. I have the 6 issue The Question miniseries from, like, hold on, let me see if I got a date on here. January of what year? I don't know, probably mid to late 90s. Question was always a character I thought was pretty cool. We've got Minutemen. We'll probably do like a whole Watchmen series. So there's no reason to address Minutemen. Put that in the box. Now we'll put that in the pile. I've got so for my money, nobody does comedy as a major comic book company like Marvel does. So never mind. These are both DC. But it was mid 80s DC and Marvel. They had some really great comedy stuff, just really fantastic. I've got, this is a cool one. I've got IDW's 4-issue Drive miniseries. If you haven't seen the movie, this has the same like vibe as the movie, but it's like pretty. There's more depth to the story. I think there's more they're showing you. So I've also got Ambush Bug, which is one of DC's like comedy series. Ambush Bug, he's not a violent guy, but I would describe him closest to Deadpool as far as who he is for the DC universe. So I've got the original 4-issue, and then the original 4-issue run from June '85, and then I want to say it's a 6-issue run, probably just 4-issue run from '86. So those are great, and we'll definitely go into those. And then formerly known as Justice League, which is like a bunch of the D-list Justice League screwing up everything and trying to dig their way out of a hole. It's a 6-issue miniseries there. That's another really funny one. And then finally, this is one of my absolute favorite comics in recent time, Huck. It's Mark Miller with Image Comics. Everybody knows Mark Miller. Artist Raphael Albuquerque. Comic is beautiful. It's a really cool story. It's like, think Superman meets Forrest Gump. And you got Huck, and that is fantastic. And that's the box, guys. That's the whole box. We made it. We survived the whole box. So that's the kind of thing you can expect. Hopefully, I didn't bore you to tears, and you're willing to come back when the actual show launches, and everything's good to go. So until then, keep checking out this page. Leave comments, ask questions, whatever you want to do. And before I pick what I'm gonna be reading for the first episode, I will make sure to let you guys know, and you can join in, ask me questions, stuff like that. Thank you. We will talk to you soon.